what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you're a film director, and you've pulled together the money that you need to and the right investors to put together this film. And so you hire someone maybe, or you sit down and you sketch out what you want the movie to be about, and then you hire a cameraman, and you give the cameraman a camera, and you say, just here's what I was going for. Here's the main theme of my movie. Go ahead and shoot whatever you want for as long as you want. Would that make any sense? You come in a couple days later and you're like, hey, so how are we doing? Are we close to being done shooting all the film? The cameraman says, no, I need a few more days. I need a few more days after that. You come back 2 weeks later, I still need a few more days. It's ridiculous, right? I mean, we would never do it. There's a reason why we storyboard. There's a reason why we sit down and say, look, we have a permit, and that permit allows us to shoot on this street for 1 day. So take what you're going to take, because we're going to use it, and we'll have to just massage and do what we need to do. We have a permit for this city for 6 weeks, and that's all we have. So shoot what you're going to shoot based on these storyboards. Let's just go for it. And if we need to circle back, we'll circle back and adjust and take another shot later, next week. But we only got 6 weeks. We got to lock it down. And then the magic happens when you take all this film into an editing room. And the editor does his magic, putting things together. The story itself adjusts. You take things out. You put other things in. And then you finally get ready to produce a film. I'm not a film producer, but I've been managing software development for almost 20 years. And for 20 years, what's been shocking is that every time I interact with people who want to build software, they treat software development like it's building a house. You think about building a house, it's just literally like, you're going to pour a foundation, then you're going to put up a frame, then you're going to put the drywall on it, put insulation in, and start painting it up, and get ready to go. Except here's the thing. We've been building houses for decades, and this particular way for almost 100 years, and so we know what we're doing. Every house may be slightly different, but ultimately we know how to build a house, because we do it over and over and over. And nothing about building software is like that. When we go to code up a new product, when we go to code a feature, there's absolutely nothing that tells us, I know exactly what I'm going to do first, then second, then third, then fourth, because we don't necessarily know. And you don't know if you have the right resources, and you don't know if they have the right skills, and you don't know if you're going to hit a hurdle. It's a lot more like shooting a film. You'll get onto that street where you get the actors together, you're going to get the cameraman together, and you're going to say, okay, let's shoot this. You've given people dialogue, and you're going to say, go for it. But you may do that 2, 3, maybe 40 times, and then walk away and say, okay, I think I have what I need. When you build software, you don't know exactly what you're going to do. And yet, more often than not, when I talk with folks who are managing software development, what I discover is when they get into the mix, they hand over the keys to the cameraman. They hand over the camera, if you will, to the cameraman, and they say, just shoot what you want and let me know how it's going. And they come back 2 weeks later and 4 weeks later, and the project never ends. And that's why I'm a strong advocate of time boxing, and particularly iterative time boxing. What does time boxing mean? It means that you say, look, I fully expect by the time we're done, we're going to have shot this multiple times. So everybody together has to be aware of that. There's never been an actor who stepped up onto the stage to get, to do his scene, and he's never thought, well, I'll just do this once, you'll shoot it, and we're done. In that way, it's a little different than when you go to record an album. There are people who literally go into a music studio and they actually record it in one shot. Turn on the recorder, they play, and they turn off the recorder and they're like, that's it, that's the record. But you don't make a movie that way. When you make a movie, you say, we're going to do it, and then we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again. And there's no actor who gets mad about that. And there's no cameraman who gets mad about that. And so as you work with software developers, it's important to establish a culture that says, we're going to build that feature probably 2, 3, 4 times over. In fact, we're going to time box it, so I want you to do that feature in 2 hours. And that means you're going to have to strip out a lot of stuff and get to the core. And after 2 hours, we're going to talk about it and see what you learned and what was hard and what was easy. And then we're going to do it again. This time you get 2 days. And when you're done with it in 2 days, we're going to learn what was easy and what was hard and what was the core and what you did better this time around. And we're going to do it again in 2 weeks. And what we know is if you spend 2 hours and 2 days and 2 weeks, you'll be done in 3 weeks. But you won't have coded it for 3 straight weeks. Nowhere else, in no other industry, in no other way, do we give people the keys to the car and say, just go for it and tell me where you get. And I hope you get to the destination you're trying to go. We treat managing software development like we're driving on a linear path and we're going from point A to point B, but that's not how it works. Because there's a lot of things we don't know. And so in the end, it makes much more sense to say, well, you know what, we're going to iterate through this and time box each part of it. We're going to lock in some windows and say, now let's get creative because we only have this much time. Time boxing, especially when you do it iteratively, and especially when you develop a culture of helping people say, we're going to do this multiple times, but each time you're going to get smarter. Each time we're going to refine it better. It makes sense. And here's the best part about it. When someone's writing those early storyboards or someone's in a movie or someone in software is writing up a spec, the truth is they can't always see what's going to happen. And it's only after a director at the end of the day looks at his dailies, when he looks and sees, here's what we were shooting, he knows what to refine and change the next day. And it's only when someone sees a piece of software actually come to life in a prototype, in a more rich, interactive model, that you come back and say, no, I don't want this, I want this, change this. A client can come back and see a version 2 or a version 3 and say, ah, no, this isn't what I was thinking about. Most of us are much better at reacting to something than to just design it out of thin air. And time boxing, iterative time boxing, gives you that opportunity to collect a lot more feedback along the way. And that helps you get success at the end.